Welcome to Turn the Page podcast with Alyssa and Leah, a podcast where we share our love of children's literature.
This summer, we've set a schedule to read and discuss some favorites from young readers just like you. This week, we are discussing Wings of Fire, the Dragonet Prophecy.
Imagine you were stolen from your family. Imagine you were raised by someone who didn't love you, didn't understand you, and didn't care to try. Imagine this has happened because someone thinks you have a destiny. Imagine there is a war raging outside, and according to a mysterious prophecy, only you and your 4 friends can stop it. Although nobody seems to know exactly how you're going to do that. This is your fate. Imagine you have no choice. Or do you? Oh, and P.S., you're a dragon.
So this series, Wings of Fire, centers around the... My favorite character is Clay, but Peril's a close second,
Clay.
I think.
Okay, yeah. I like Clay too. I mean, how can you not like Clay? He's classic good guy.
Yeah, he's just a good guy. He's a good dragon. All right, what about who was your least favorite dragon?
My least favorite was probably Kestrel and like the other captors. I mean,
Yeah.
I did not like Kestrel at all.
No, Kestrel was rotten. And the thing is, at the end, like, you want to kind of feel bad for Kestrel, but you just don't. Because you're like, you are not good.
No.
And maybe
they were awful.
Yeah.
And how wonderful for these 5 dragons to be like so close and bonded with each other, being raised by like these awful dragons.
Well, they kind of had to be. I feel like to survive.
They were taught that, you know.
Of course, yeah. They weren't taught any kind of human decency, but I feel like that like comes to like prisoners. They like bonded because they were in these awful circumstances. And I don't know, like they were teaching the dragons and stuff. So they just weren't offering like that compassionate side that obviously you need, especially growing up.
Who did you dislike?
Kestrel was my least favorite. And I even like when I was looking at this question thought, oh, maybe I'll say Morosier. But I didn't really hate. I mean, you should not like him. And I didn't like him. Obviously, he kind of starts it.
But we don't know him like we knew Kestrel. I feel like we maybe he'll come up later in the books, but he kind of comes and goes.
Correct. Yes. And also like it's like which queen is, you know, the best queen? We're not sure.
I really need a dragon tree.
Yeah.
Shows relationships, yeah.
They have the 3 sisters, Burn, Blister, and Blaze, and you're not really sure who is good because you know now Morosier is aligned with Blister. And so
I don't think any of them are good.
One of them is. In the prophecy, it tells you one. Well, okay, none of them are good, I guess. But it says like 2 will die and 1 will learn.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why Kestrel, I mean, that is why Morosier at the end is telling Blister that she's going to be the one. And they've essentially started this huge war amongst all the dragons for who will be the Sandwing queen, which is interesting because why do all the dragons care who's going to be the queen of the Sandwing?
I don't know.
It wouldn't be a book if they didn't, I guess. All right. So in the original prophecy, it specifically mentions like the eggs they have to go get, the dragons of destiny. And it does not include a rainwing. So Glory is there, but how do the other dragonets feel about Glory?
I mean, the other dragonets like her.
Yes. And
I liked her.
Yes. And they're like constantly trying to validate her and remind her that like she is one of them. Because there are times when I feel like she is willing to be left behind or be like sacrificed, and they're like,
Mhm.
no, you're one of us.
Mhm.
I feel bad for Glory. It really is a shame that she's not included in the prophecy, but I feel like she will be in some way. Like maybe she's not.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, can we go back to the prophecy, and one of them got thrown off a cliff, one of the eggs,
Correct. And so that is why Glory was first.
and that's why Glory was picked. Do you think that egg survived?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think it survived.
I think that dragon's out there. Yes.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, Glory became the hero in this book when she like spits acid at the dragons for them to escape. So, I mean, she definitely has a place with our dragonettes. Yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree. All right. What about Kestrel and the other minders? How do they feel about Glory after Morrowseer visits?
Yeah, I feel like they kind of just give up on her. They're definitely going to go kill her.
Yeah, which is terrible. Why can't I don't understand at this point in the book. I'm like,
The
why can't they let her go?
Yeah, they don't. There's no loyalty amongst dragons.
Well, that's not
There's
true.
no. Well, our special dragonettes, there's loyalty, but the other dragons, there's just like that's not how they act. Even when
Yeah,
we see like the mom, Clay's mom,
yeah, but
she didn't even care
his
about her
siblings
eggs.
are loyal
Yeah, yeah,
because the siblings, they have like a sibling bond, but there's no like maternal
yeah,
bond.
yeah.
And Clay, that is like his quality is that he is loyal.
He is.
And
Yeah,
I find that interesting that the siblings are, but the parent isn't, because it's like a trait that him and his siblings share, but his parent doesn't have. And obviously, he wasn't raised in the same house. Den.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So let's kind of keep going through some
Okay.
questions. So it says Clay believes he's not a naturally hatched hero. What makes him feel he doesn't meet these expectations?
So I think obviously he doesn't feel like he's the hero because he's not um I guess like he doesn't do as well in the training. Like he can never win, or he never is good enough when they're training, like when Kestrel's fighting with him, and he's doesn't ever feel like he's good enough or
Right.
as good as the other dragonettes.
Yeah, he's not the
He's
biggest, he's not the smartest, he's just there.
yeah.
But I think that he is such a good hero because he is willing, even though he's not like in the situation when they have to escape from the cave. Obviously, the right person to do it would have been Tsunami, but she's chained up, and
Mhm.
Clay immediately is like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, he's definitely willing to risk his life. And I mean, he's probably one of the bravest of the dragonettes because he's just, even though he's scared and even though he knows he's not going to like being in the water and he's not sure he can make it, he does it anyway. So, yeah, he's definitely a hero.
Yeah, I think Clay
Even though
brings
he
up like,
doesn't
even though he doesn't what?
even though he doesn't feel like it sometimes.
Yeah, agreed. I think sometimes the best heroes are like that because you just go around being like, I'm a hero, I'm a hero. You're probably the villain of the story. I mean,
True.
if you think of any good hero, they're usually an unlikely hero. They're usually not someone who feels superhero like.
Yeah,
All right.
you're right.
Okay. The next question says, why do you think Glory refuses to hide when Queen Scarlet finds them in the cave? And what would you have
What
done
would
if
you
you
have
were
done?
Glory?
I mean, I think that she's just, she doesn't want to take the easy way out. I think she knows that um they risked their lives and to save her, and she was gonna stick with them, the Dragonets.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think there's like a little bit of guilt of like, I got them into this. Like they had to escape because of me, or
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have to, but they chose to escape because they're going to kill Glory. And then now it's like, I'm going to have to repay them. And I think all the Dragonets are pretty loyal to each other, which is
Yeah,
great. Um, I would
yeah.
like to say if I was Glory, I would do the same thing. But I also think that's always something you wonder about yourself, that like if
Yeah,
you can hide and not stand up for what's right, like would you? And hopefully the answer is no. But like that's something you're always like, I feel like questioning and trying to be brave about.
yeah, yeah. It's true. I agree. All right. The next question is Clay plays the Dragonet song on his wire and is surprised when all the other dragons sing along. Why do you think they sing along? I thought this was really cool.
This is my favorite part of the whole book because
Yeah, it's the rally.
yes, it's like all of a sudden, like he has been feeling alone. He feels like he's in this cage. And then he's like, I feel like playing that for like the other dragonets, kind of like in himself to
Mm-hmm.
rally himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the dragons know it. And I feel like they know it because they're also waiting for this prophecy to come
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, again, it just makes me wonder like why are they there? I'm still not sure, even though it might have said it. I'm still not sure why all these other dragons are being held captive, but they hear it and their response is amazing. Yeah, that was
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah, that was a great part of the book. And I mean, obviously, like I love that Clay like didn't want to fight. Like he's a dragon that is a fighter and like allegedly, at the beginning he thinks because he tried to attack the other eggs that he is violent. And
Yeah.
you get to this part in the book and you're like realizing Clay is not. He really is a good dragon and has a good heart and he's not going to go out there and just kill and fight dragons for the heck of it. Um
Right.
but you also see him befriend Peril has been doing that, and he is a good friend to Peril and tries to,
Yeah.
give her that understanding that that's not right.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Why do you think? Let's go in a little bit to Peril. So, like, let's kind of like talk about
Okay.
Peril before we get into this question. So, like, Peril is the dragon that they meet in the Skywing dungeon, and Peril has a twin who was killed. You don't
Okay, I
remember this?
vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So,
I do. I do.
and
Yeah, I vaguely
Peril is
remember that.
someone's baby. Is Peril Kestrel's baby that we find out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Peril is Kestrel's baby who
Yeah.
was left in the Skywing Queen.
Somehow, yeah, somehow she's being held captive, and I'm assuming ever since she was born.
Yes. Yes. I think so.
So like she grows up thinking and she kind of has like this thing where she thinks the queen like she's doing this for the queen.
Yeah.
Like
She
the
has,
queen is not making her.
what is that?
Stockholm's syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So for all
Yeah.
the children listening, Stockholm syndrome is when you love your captor. So Peril
Yeah.
definitely has a case of Stockholm syndrome where she loves the queen, even though the queen is using and abusing her. And she's
Yeah.
got
So
that
she
special
thinks she's
power.
right. Yeah. Which is to kill. What's her power?
No, she's like overly hot. Like
Fire.
her
Fire. Yeah. Yeah.
her
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Okay.
claws are like fire. So
Yeah.
if she
Yeah.
scratches another dragon, it like burns them to bits, which we then later find out that
Yeah.
Clay is immune to.
Is it immune? Mud.
Yes.
Yeah. So cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all mudwings though, right? I think this power is unique to Clay.
I do. I think it's just Clay.
Yeah. So, at the end of the book, when the mudwings escape with the help of Glory, and now Peril knows that Kestrel's her mother, and Peril
Mhm.
does not go with them. So why do you think that Peril refuses to go?
With Kestrel or with the
Um,
Dragonettes?
both. So she doesn't
So
go with
does she
Kestrel
end
or
up
the Dragonettes.
does she end up where does she go?
I don't
She
know if
doesn't
she
end up staying with the
stays.
Dragonettes?
No, she doesn't stay with the Dragonettes. She doesn't. I think she might stay at the Skywing Kingdom.
I don't remember where she goes, but I understand her not going with Kestrel because Kestrel just I mean, she's the revelation comes that Kestrel is her mom, and then she's just like, yeah, I don't want you. I don't have any kind of feelings towards you. So yeah, no, she's not gonna go with Kestrel.
Yeah.
But I I thought that they had a conversation. Like she told the Dragonettes, no, like I don't belong with this group either. But then I thought they worked it out to where she was going to stay with them. I'm not sure what she does.
No, she stays behind. So
So yeah, they kind of just leave her. She just doesn't go on. They're going to find the Mudwings, and they kind of just leave her behind. They're like, she stays on the lake shore.
yeah, and I feel like she doesn't want to go because that's not her journey. Remember, like in the chapter before, they kind of talk about like maybe the Peril is the other Dragonette, but she's not. Like it doesn't make sense for the prophecy because she wasn't born at
She
the right
wasn't old enough.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like they she knows that that's not her place in the story.
Or she's older than them. Yeah.
Yeah, she's older than them.
Yeah.
Um
She might end up coming around again.
yeah, I think that kind of goes to the thing with like Glory. Like there's these other dragons that are like important to their future and their fate that maybe are not part of the prophecy.
Yeah.
So, if I was Peril though, would have gone with Clay. Clearly, Peril likes
Yeah.
Clay and she should
Yeah.
have just gone along for the ride.
Yeah. She might have her own journey.
Yeah.
They'll meet up again, I think.
I agree. I think that is not the last we've seen of Peril.
Yeah.
So then we go with the dragons the very end to the Mudwing Kingdom where we sadly meet Clay's mom.
I know. Again, the adult dragons in this book are not portrayed very well.
You
All
know,
the
maybe
dragonettes are like,
yeah, maybe that's the theme. Like sometimes, like the younger generation is just, so much better and so much more hopeful than like the
yeah,
parents. And that's kind of seems to be a theme in this book of like the older dragons are not acting right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the
So
dragonettes
that
are
was,
definitely better.
yeah, it was very sad that Clay's mom did not live up to his expectations. But his siblings were
Yes, when they meet
excited to see
him.
him.
And I feel like this was a turning point for Clay too, when he realizes that, oh, I did not try to attack the other dragonets. I'm a
Yeah,
mudwing, and mudwings have a big wing that helps the other dragons get out of their
yeah.
eggs. So he was helping them hatch.
Ooh, I just thought. So like Clay is the dragonette's big wing.
Yes, yes. I think they say that in the
Yeah,
book.
so
I think they
oh.
they like call him their big wings. Like
Okay, good.
after, his siblings ask him to stay and
Yeah.
he decides not to.
Yeah, he knows. I mean, he didn't grow up with them and he knows it's better if he doesn't like muddy the waters with them and try to stick with them. He has his own clan. Do they call it? What do they call it? Group.
He has his own prophecy to do. So he has other things to do. But yeah, so I would absolutely recommend this book. I'm like really excited to read the other books in the series.
Yeah, I cannot wait to talk about this with the kids at school, and I can't wait to read their comments in a bit about this book. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend this to the 4th and 5th graders if you have a 6th grader friend or, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think this is like so great because it's like a really good epic book that is kid appropriate. It's like, you know, there's a little bit of violence in there, but it's okay because it's dragons. And it just really is like a good story. And that's why I can't wait to read on and see what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we'll read some of your comments. All right. So up first, we have Luke. Luke said that his favorite character is Clay because he thinks he's brave. He's not finished reading the first book yet, but he says he likes it and he will definitely want to read the next book because he likes dragons. Me too, Luke.
Absolutely. I feel like that's why we wanted to read this as well, because we are very into dragons.
Exactly. And I definitely want to read what happens next.
Yeah, it's a good cliffhanger. All right, next up we have Meenakshi, and she said that her favorite character was Tsunami because she defends Clay and she is a good friend.
Yeah, she's right.
Absolutely.
Tsunami is a very strong character.
Yeah, and I love like the idea of a water dragon is really cool and something different that I haven't seen in many books.
Yes. All right, next we have Eva. Eva said she liked the details in the book about the environment and that she could make a picture in her mind. And I agree that it was very detailed and it was easy to understand and picture everything that was happening in the book.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that I agree. She did a really good job with like the imagery and that you could see this world you've never even been to.
Right.
All right. Next up, we have Joe. And Joe said, in my opinion, the first Wings of Fire is pretty good. She was not the biggest fan of the part where Clay's mom traded him for 2 cows.
No, me either, Joe.
Yeah, that was a pretty sad part that his mom was didn't care about him very much at all.
Okay, up next we have Reese. Reese says that this is a real page turner. He says, I enjoyed that this book has a complex backstory. And not to give it away, but the tribes and finding the treasure keeps you engrossed in the story. And I agree. Thanks, Reese.
Absolutely. This is definitely a book that makes you want to keep reading. And not last but not least, we have William. And William said that Clay is his favorite character because he's the main character. He really disliked Queen Scarlet. And then he said that when Clay destroyed the Dragonet egg, that made him feel like he was not a natural hatched hero. And he liked this book. So thank you so much, William, for commenting. I totally agree with, I think obviously you heard most of the episode. Like we agree with your comments that that is why Clay thought he was the bad guy for a while.
Thanks for your comments, guys.
Absolutely. And keep reading with us for the rest of the summer. We would love to have you comment on our future books. Next week, we'll be reading Amelia Bedelia Means Business, which is probably a little bit younger than if you're reading Wings of Fire, though we'd still love to have you read along with us. But our next upper grade book is going to be Hello Universe by Erin and Shraddha Kelly. So if you would like to read along with us, we would love to have you. Thank you for listening to Turn the Page podcast with Alyssa and Leah. Please take a minute to follow us and leave us a review. We would love to hear from you.
Speaking of hearing from you, we would love for you to follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at turnthepage_podcast or Turn the Page Podcast on Facebook. Bye, y'all.